Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and throw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Are you looking to unlock your dog's full potential and give them the best nutrition possible for peak performance? Then look no further. Inukshuk has what you're looking for. Inukshuk's nutrient-dense formulas are crafted to keep your dog's energy high and performance top-notch. Packed with premium proteins and essential fats, Inukshuk delivers the balanced nutrition your dog needs to thrive. From hunting dogs to police canines, Inukshuk is trusted by professionals. Give your dog the power of peak performance with Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. Here we are on another Wednesday. Welcome back, friends, to another episode of What's Up Wednesday, the podcast for every hunter who's ever followed a good-nosed hound through the woods. I'm Heath Hyatt, your host, and each week we're going to dive into tips, tales, and training tricks to turn your hound into a hunting machine. Whether you're just getting started or you've logged thousands of miles with your pack, there's always something in here for you. So let's get this episode on the books. When you guys listen to this, I am going to be in Wyoming chasing a big bull elk with Rick Labby. I'm going to fly out on Saturday. This is going to drop on Wednesday. And I hope that by the time this drops, that we've also dropped us a big old 5x5 or a 6x6. Rick got him a nice one last week, and I am ecstatic, hoping that I get an opportunity. But if not, the experience, I've never got the elk hunt. It's on my bucket list, just like a moose is. I've never got to experience it. I have been out west several times, but I've never got, well, I take that back. I have line hunted out west in New Mexico a couple times, but I've never got to do this. And for all you guys that have done it, man, I'm envious because it's going to be a dream for me. Like I said, regardless of what happens, I don't care. If the Lord blesses me and we get to harvest one of those magnificent creatures, then right on. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be blessed with being able to go out and spend time in the wilderness. You know, hopefully I get to pick Rick's brain about the deer hunting and the hunting that he does. We had him on the podcast a while back. I mean, the guy, he does everything. Like he's world renowned for his whitetail. You know, he runs yotes and bobcats with dogs. He's been with Kirk Rogers and killed several nice bear. I think his kids have killed 400 or 500 pound bear. So just an extraordinary opportunity for me. I can't count my blessings enough that I'm being able to do this, and I am excited. So hopefully, guys, we'll be able to send some pictures when this one rolls out. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But the last couple podcasts we did, you know, I know last week we talked about a hunt that I got to do a couple of those things with. And it always, like, I don't know if you guys are, like, my brain just don't stop sometimes, especially with the dog world, whether it's breeding and bloodlines and how to tie things in or how to tweak or to change things. We talked last week about my training. I'm going to change my training a little bit because my expectations are a little different than what results I'm getting. And that brought on today's podcast. This is what brought it on, is that walkout before I was enamored with the memory of Frosty standing up on that tree. I hope everybody enjoyed that story because it almost choked me up. I don't know if you could tell or not, but it did. Frosty was so much more to me than a hound. But sometimes I think we get so caught up in the end result. And I'm guilty. Like I can raise my hand and say, I'm guilty. That we forget how important the process it is to get there. The process is more important than the end result. And I know you're sitting there going, no, I don't know about that. Like, I got to have results. Like, we're result driven, right? Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, if your process is thorough, you're taking your time, and you're doing the right things, the end result really comes easy. I know that with all the training that I've had, and so many people have given me their knowledge, I still struggle. I still have things that I've got to work out, that I won't fix, like my standards, my expectations. But that's a part of the hound, the dog world. Let's just say dog world that I love the most. Is because it's like a piece of clay, and I can shape it into what I want. But the process is so important. And I'm just going to I want to run through a few things. And then I want to talk about a process with one of the dogs that I'm working through right now. Because it's definitely had me scratching my head. It's definitely got me thinking, rethinking. It's got me backing up and punting. And I think that if I'm going through this stuff, other people's going through it too. But let's talk about the process and why it's so important. The first thing that stands out to me is about the bond. That bond cannot be bought, right? You don't get a good dog. Well, yes, you can go out and buy one. But do you know how much more gratification that it gives you if you make it? And they're not made overnight. They're made over time. The training that you do with your hounds builds that relationship. Every mile you walk with that hound builds trust and communication. And I'll talk about communication. And I may have mentioned this before, but I talk about my little blue female Belle a lot. Belle was probably one of my favorite dogs. And I told you when we done the male versus female podcast that like she had a special place. Like there was just something about her. It was something about her. And do you have a dog that you don't have to say anything to? You can just look at her. You make eye contact, and she's like, okay, Dad, I'll get up on the box. Or, okay, Dad, I'll go get in my pen. Or, okay, Dad, I won't do that. That was how Belle was. But that was through building a bond with her. And I mean, very rarely did I have to speak to her. I spent more time, talking to her when I was petting her than I did anything else. I was like a big baby, goo-gooing and gaga-gaing over, like, come on, baby, come on, Belle, come on. But you build that bond, okay? It's not bought. You got to build it. And the second thing that really, we talk about this all the time, patience is a skill. And it's a hard skill. Last week on one of my hunts, I literally felt my neck and my ears heating up and getting red. Self-awareness. I have to do that a lot through work. if you can believe that. I've got to understand where my limits are and what triggers me. And I was triggered the other week. Triggered. And I literally stopped because I felt myself involving in a big ball of flame. Like, yeah. And I stopped what I was doing and I woosah, right? I took a breath. I breathed out. And I'm like, Heath, this is a part of it. It's part of the process. And I had to do that, self-awareness. Patience is a skill, and it is hard. But it teaches you humility and consistency. You're not just training the dog. The dog's actually shaping you too. Right? A hound just doesn't learn your commands. They learn your soul. And you learn theirs. And that was something about Belle. And there's no fast forward buttons. It comes in layers. I train everything in pictures. I talk about pictures a lot to my canine guys. Everything's in pictures. Okay, here's a picture. Let's change it. Boom, let's change it. Here's another picture. Training layers. And one of the good things about doing all this is you get to witness the growth of the dog. Like, this is what is so gratifying to me. It's not just results driven. You get to see the dog go through the alphabet from the A to the B to the C to the, X to the Y to the Z. You get to see all that, and you get to see all of it in between. And do you know how great of a handler and a dog person, if you can do all that, it makes you? When you're spending months developing that dog's instincts, right? We definitely got to have those genetics and that DNA. But that makes you appreciate the intelligence and the instincts of your hound. We talk about Izzy, how you heard me talk about how she was giving me such a problem. That dog is my best friend right now. She was up in the field the other morning, and I don't take her every day. She's 9 months old. I've been taking her here and there, maybe once a week. And she was up, and I'd let the dogs out, and I went in and got my coffee and got my breakfast stuff and was putting it in the truck while I heard her up in Travis's field baying a cow. So I load everything up and I holler at her, Izzy, come here. And I'm loading dogs up. Next thing I know, she's up on the tailgate trying to lick me in the face. And man, what a process, and how much patience did she teach me. That one time I told you that I chased her all around the yard, down to the barn, down to the road, and I had to stop. I had to catch myself and stop. And remember, she come back up towards the house in the driveway, and she laid in the fence line. And you remember I told you I walked by her. I did not force myself on her. But that was learning for both of us. That's growth from both of us. Like I knew what I needed to do, and I had to be mature enough to make myself do it. It's teamwork. It's all about teamwork. And you learn to listen without words. The dogs don't speak. They do. We get to hear them. We get to hear their voices cry on the trail or on during the chase. And then when they come treed, the other morning I had a race and my B-litter Briggs, he shortcut them and got out front and he come treed. He give a big, remember I told you a while back, this dog give out a big long ball, and I'm like, whose dog was that? He did that same thing and he broke it over into a steady chop. And I'm like, hot dog, man. Like, yes. That's what I'm hearing. And the dogs run around him for a second before they figured it out, before they come in there and pulled up with him. But they don't speak. Just like last week when I was talking about Attica, her tail, her ears, her gait, all of that tells me something. Like, it's like a cop walking in a donut shop when I saw her. Oh boy, that's what I seen out of her. And you learn to read your dog like a book. So that's a part of it. And we talk about failure a lot. Guys, failure's not, that's a learning process. That's learning. You don't fail. I just learned a lesson. Okay, do I need to switch it? What do I need to do to keep that from happening again? Mistakes are your best trainer. Even raising kids. I tell Maddie this all the time. Honey, you're 16 years old. You're going to make mistakes. But if you continue to make the same mistakes, it's a choice, right? So don't do that. And it's the same thing with the dog. Everybody shows you what needs to be fixed. If they botch, if they mess up a track or they false tree, figure it out. Why? Ask why. Why? How did I get here? Why did the dogs do it? Was it a training technique? And I'll guarantee you most of the time it is. Too much visual stimulation. And then when the dog gets pressed and gets frustrated, the first thing they do is fall back on their training. And we teach that in the police world too. You always revert back to your training. Always. Same thing with the dog training. So if you're not failing, you're probably not trying. The process is a part of it. And I was thinking about this. Again, this is kind of how I get some of these ideas for these podcasts. When I leave this world, yep, there's been times I've caught a lot of bear. There's been times that I haven't. There's been times when I've had some really good dogs and I haven't. And there's been times when I've had some not so good dogs and I've got really lucky. But I want people, I don't want people to remember me for the bear. I want them to remember me for the dogs that are walking with me on this journey. I want them to remember the people that hunted with Ring and Belle and Frosty, Spook, Kate, all the other dogs that are still writing their story. Like, I want them to remember me for that. The dogs that I had, the dogs that I was able to hunt with, and it was able to teach me. You just don't hang a dog's photo on the wall because they caught game. You do it because of who they were and what they made you. Frosty was my teacher. Ring caught way more bear than Frosty did. But Frosty knew more than I did, and I didn't know as much as he did. And therefore, I hampered his development. I hampered his progress. And we didn't have as much bear and as many bear back then. The bear went on a boom when Ring hit about 4 or 5 years old. So, man, you don't have to celebrate the end of the hunt. Just celebrate the hunt. Because only a few of us are going to understand the value of the time and the effort that was put in to get into the end result. That makes sense? So let me tell you about a process that I'm running through. So I told you I bought a dog a couple months ago, and she strikes really good off the truck. She's striking in the truck. But I can put her up with my other dogs who I trust. I'm learning her. We had a really good training session today. But she strike even on a bear, she'll strike in front of my other dogs. And I realized that really quickly. First time or two, I'm like, she's opening pretty quick. And I mean, my dogs don't do bad with that, but she's opening really quick. But last week, she opened 5 or 6 times going around the mountain, and my other dogs didn't say a word. So what am I going to do about this? I don't know what she's opening on. I know, or I feel strongly that it's trash, or it could be a track. Here's the way I'm going to work this out. There's 2 things that I'm going to do. I put her down twice last Saturday. She opened a couple times, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put her down. I'm going to find out what she's doing. So the first thing I do is I get out and I walk around and make sure I don't see any tracks around where she's striking, which doesn't mean anything, right? They could be striking 50, 60, 100, 200 yards over the road. But I put her down the first time. She went down below the road, opened a few times, circled back, went above the road, opened a few times, made a big loop in there. The furthest she ever got was like 130 yards. And she come back in the road, and I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm like, come on, let's go. So she come down the truck, I load her up, drive around the mountain, another mile, half a mile or so. This time, she's like blowing it up. And my other dogs are looking at me like, I don't know what's going on here. But so I let her down, and she goes up the mountain, about 230 some yards, turns and comes right back to me. I'm like, all right. So, all right, let's talk about the trash issue. I do not want to encourage her to run trash, right? Do not. But I don't know what she's opening on. The only way I'm going to find out is for her to bring it across in front of me or me see her run it. But with this, there's a stipulation. If I put her down willingly and let her run what said game, whatever it is, I have to understand when I go to do the trash breaking, it's going to take me a little bit longer to get it fixed. You ask me, well, why is that, Heath? Well, because I'm letting her do something that I don't want her to do. But I'm letting her do it so I can find out what I need to correct her off of. I've put her down actually 3 times now, and she's not run out of the country on anything. And I do know she'll run a bear by herself because I packed her up a couple of weeks ago. She was out there by herself, and I didn't know what she was doing. And when I drove over her track, my box blew up. I packed them up and treated a bear. So I do know she'll run a bear by herself. Could it be a coon? Maybe. Could it be deer? We'll talk about that. Could it be a coyote, a fox? I don't know. But I also invested in a trail camera this past week. I have had a couple of off races. And I'm going to put my trail camera out where I know there are some wily coyotes. And as soon as I can get some on camera, I'm going up and I'm going to do some trash breaking. And I'm going to do some extinction training on this. And when I say extinction training, that means that I don't even want them thinking about getting after a yote because they've run them now. I know they have, and I haven't seen them. I've had 2 races this year that come out in the same place. I mean, almost identical places. I was sitting around there the second time waiting because I'm like, okay, here we come again. I'm getting ahead of it. Still didn't see anything. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know this is not right, but my patience has taught me over time that I'm not going to just correct the dogs when I don't know. I'm unsure. And even though there is a good likelihood that I'm correct, there's always a chance, unless you see it, and sometimes even when you do see it, that it's not that it's not wrong. So I have to know. I have to be sure before I start going into this. So I bought me a trail cam. I'm gonna put it up in an area that that I've been hitting in. I'm unsure what I'm hitting, and I'm going to work on it. But back to the female. I've put her down 3 times. Have no clue. I could not tell you what it is. And I want to say I know, but I don't know. I can't smell what she smells. But I know I put her down 3 times, and she's not busted and went out of there with it. She's opened a few times, made circles, and come back to the truck, put her on the truck. So maybe she'll teach herself. I don't know. So today, I was coming out of the woods, and I've got her in a truck, and 2 great big old slick heads cross the road right in front of me. And I'm like, game on, game on. So I pull up real slow. The dog box is open. Nothing makes a peep. I drop the tailgate. I let her out, and up over the bank she goes. She did not open. But I'm going to tell you, she was kicking up dirt. We talk about that body language. And as soon as she kicked about 3 spurts of dirt up on me, then we initiated the correction. And she knew too. She knew. But she got out of pocket on me one day, and I'm pretty sure this is probably what she was opening on. But she didn't open this time. She didn't open in the box. She didn't open when I put her on the ground. But I'm gonna tell you, she was leaving. She was gonna leave there. So I got some more work to do on that. And then I'll figure out the other part of it, one thing at a time, right? Process. We're talking about the process. One thing at a time. I work on the deer. I get them stopped, and then it's processed by elimination. If she's fooling with a coon, I don't think so, because it's too many strikes. If she's fooling with a coon with age and time, I feel like she'll come out of that. But this dog has so much potential. She's got a really good mouth. She opens really quick on the truck. I've noticed on a couple of bear that I've actually put her out on, like, she does not waste time going and finding them. Like, the other dogs may make a loop or make circles or whatever. It's like you shot her out of a slingshot. It's like, boom, right to it, and she's gone. Got a lot of potential, and I want this dog to succeed. I want her to be one of my lead dogs, and I feel like she has the capabilities of doing that. So I'm going to work on it the rest of the fall, and if it takes me up into the spring or even into next year, we'll get it worked out. We'll figure it out, because that's a part of it. It's a part of the process. It's a part of building a bond with her, being able to understand what she's doing, reading her body language, and giving her every opportunity with the assistance of myself, putting her in the right place, the right time, on the right stuff to get her where she needs to be. And I have no doubt that we're going to get there. And she's going to be a very impactful dog in my pack. Very. Like I said, she's already running by herself. I've seen her do it. She's got the tools. She got the tools. I just need to make sure she's working on the right things. So hopefully we got success in Wyoming. That's this week's episode. Thank you guys for tuning in and walking the trail with me. If you got something out of today's episode, you know what to do. Make sure you share it with a fellow handler. Until next time, we'll see you guys at the tree.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean, dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done, old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there. Chasing daylight, chasing them bears.